Hey, what's up guys? It's Luke here, and this is a thing I'll probably be doing fairly often, but I'm going to be doing kind of a news thing, kind of a satirical thing, but basically I'll be looking at news stories and taking the piss out of them generally. So a big story in the UK this week was Nigel Farage decided to post a letter to the BBC complaining about something. I don't know. It doesn't really say on the article I'm looking at. But what I'm more interested in is the comments that were left on his tweets. Yesterday, he tweeted that he was delivering a letter of complaint to the BBC Director General. And there were a lot of comments. My favourite one being Postman Twat. Was quite funny. And people have been making fun of him. But the one thing you don't do that he did is he held up a piece of paper. I'm pretty certain it was just the envelope that the letter was in, but he had a picture taken of him holding the envelope. So as you can probably guess, people have photoshopped various different things onto the envelope. There were a lot of different things. I can't find any at the moment, but you can imagine what kind of things he put on there. According to various different people, Farage's complaint to the BBC dates back to reporting in the aftermath of the death of a Polish man in Harlow in 2016, which sparked fears of a wave of Brexit hate crime. In an interview with the BBC, reporter John Sweeney at the time, one local resident claimed Farage had blood on his hands. The former UKIP leader has described this as a slur that has caused his family misery. A little ironic there. Speaking on his LBC radio show, Farage said, "I want an apology, and if I don't get one, then I think I'll be compelled next year to feel why I should pay the licence fee." In response to Farage's claim, a BBC spokesperson said the BBC's reporting reflected, like other media, that racial motivation was a line of inquiry the police were looking at, and our coverage also featured vox pops, don't know what that is, giving different views, including antisocial behaviour as a possibility. Farage famously described the Leave victory in the EU referendum as being achieved without a single bullet fired, despite the murder of MP Joe Cox by far-right terrorist Thomas Mair, taking place only days earlier. And one person tweeted, "Farage is demanding BBC apologise over a vox pop. He's not so keen on the voice of the people when it says he's an arsehole, is he?" And another person tweeted, "Nigel, it doesn't matter how many letters you write, they will never bring back the black and white minstrel show." So obviously Nigel Farage decided to be a dick, and decided to send a letter to the BBC because he didn't like something they said. That's essentially what he did. And so, he essentially just he's a bit of a dick at this point. Not a bit of a dick, a massive dick. So I haven't actually seen the video that he posted, so I'm going to watch it now. So hang on. You might hear it in the background, you might not. Oh, there's headphones in there. Alright, turn the volume down a bit. Okay, so I'm currently, I'm about to watch the video. He looks like a twat when he walks. Look at him. Well, you can't look at him, obviously, but, you know, if you watch this video, he looks like an absolute twat when he walks. That's it. It's just... the contents of that video is him walking up to the front doors of the BBC offices or whatever, turning around and holding up an envelope. Anyone can do that. Should have filmed the conversation that went on inside. So, yeah, so Nigel Farage has gone and done that. And what else is there? I'm just scrolling through the news now. Yeah, so Nigel Farage decided to do that because he's a twat. What else is there that I can make fun of? I'm just trying to find things that I can make fun of now. Maybe some news. So, okay, here's the thing, no, that's not a thing, actually. Oh yeah, here's something very recent. According to BBC News, Theresa May is set to propose a transitional deal with the EU of up to 2 years in a speech on Friday, a cabinet source has told the BBC News. So, the Prime Minister is expected to make an open and generous offer, potentially worth €20 billion over the 2 years. It would mean that the EU does not have to unpick its current budget, so no other EU member loses. So no other EU member loses out from Brexit. Number 10 hopes the speech, which has been agreed by the cabinet but could yet be revised, will speed up Brexit talks. Mrs May briefed her top team at a marathon 2.5-hour cabinet meeting in Downing Street on what she will say in Florence. Yeah, she's not gonna offer 20 billion euros to the EU because she hates the EU. The current situation with Brexit negotiations at this point is the Conservatives are using Theresa May as a shield to block all of the shit being thrown at them by the EU. Labour are trying to tell the Conservatives to be nicer to the EU, and the Conservatives are saying no, fuck off, you communists. The Lib Dems are over in the corner smoking weed and saying, you know, we probably shouldn't leave the EU, bro, which is a brilliant idea, but it's never going to happen while we've got Theresa May in charge. And UKIP are too busy trying not to collapse that they can't follow through on literally the one promise they've ever made. And the Green Party is so tiny that they can't get a word in edgeways. But anyway, let's keep reading this article. A government source said that the intention was to make the potential payments conditional on continued access to the single market. Well, that's not going to happen. It's essentially like wanting to stay in the Labour's negotiating policy with the EU. If Labour could negotiate, were doing Brexit negotiations, it would be like a really weird breakup, because it would be I'm leaving you, you bitch, but I want to be able to, you know, let myself in when I want and use all your stuff. It's not going to work. At least Theresa May has something that will it's more, Theresa May is more likely to work. Probably not going to, but it's more likely to work. Anyway, and some form of customs union, still never going to happen, allowed the UK to strike its own trade deals during the transition period. BBC political editor Laura Kuenssberg, that woman, said, Mrs May is not expected to say how much the cash offer will be worth. Okay, the exact nature of the arrangements for accessing the single market or any conditions attached to the money in her much anticipated speech. These are subject to the negotiations in Brussels. Right, so they think it's going to be 20 billion euros, but she's not actually going to say how much it is. Right, that makes... So a leaked cabinet source is saying that she's going to offer them 20 billion euros, even though the speech that has been approved by cabinet doesn't seem to have the amount in it. But reporter woman, I'm not going to try and say her name again, says it is hoped in government circles that the Prime Minister's offer could help overcome the current political blockage in the negotiations. So she's going to essentially bribe the EU to let her leave the EU. Again, never going to happen. Mrs May is also expected to repeat her assertion that the UK will seek its own bespoke trade deal after Brexit with the rest of the EU. If you're going to leave the EU, if you want to leave the EU, they are not going to trade with you. It's just not going to happen. She is therefore likely to rule out seeking an equivalent to the Canada-style free trade deal preferred by some Brexiteers. I don't know what that is. An arrangement like the European Economic Area, where countries retain a full relationship with the single market but have to accept elements of the freedom of movement. Right. After a week of tensions on the issue of Brexit strategy, I think it's more than tensions. I think they must be tearing their hair out at this point. But anyway, the cabinet meeting to read and discuss the text of the draft speech ended with Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, don't know why Boris Johnson's Foreign Secretary, and Chancellor Philip Hammond seen as being at opposing ends of cabinet views on Brexit, emerging from number 10 in a show of unity for waiting reporters. Okay, so there's a video here, but that's not important. Debate ahead of the speech is focused on the detail of the time-limited transition period after Brexit, how much the UK will pay as it leaves, and whether it will continue contributing to EU budgets in years to come. Well, if you want to leave the EU, you're not going to contribute to EU budgets. So there's a lot more here. I'll just read the last paragraph or two. So far, the government has said the UK will honour its commitments, but that the days of giving huge sums of money are over. Okay. In a speech to the Italian Parliament on Thursday, the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michael Barnier, said that striking a deal with the UK was in our common interest, but that the year remained to come to the agreement on key issues, as 6 months would be needed for ratification before March 2019. Right, so on that note, I'm going to leave it here. So what we've learned today is essentially Nigel Farage is a twat and Theresa May is doing anything she possibly can to get her stupid Brexit negotiation to work. So I will see you next time. Bye bye.